Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Live with Yana live stream. And tonight's topic is the future of job landscape in 2021. Thank you so much for finding some time this evening to join our live discussion. Apology, I've been pretty sick this week, so not with COVID, so all good, COVID-free. But I might have a bit of a cough or sneeze during tonight's show, so please excuse me in advance. So please, as usual, introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're watching us from, and also what are you doing for work as well. So if you're new to my live stream, I'm Yana Martins, and I'm a video conference coach, and I help my clients to overcome camera phobia so they can connect with their professional community online through the power of the video. So again, tonight, we're going to talk about the future of job landscape in 2021. And Sharon is going to share her valuable insights and real life experience when it comes to job search in 2021. So, as the world is changing, I'm sure there are a few of you who got a bit maybe stuck or confused what to do next, what career to choose, or, what's actually happening with the job search in 2021 in general. So how to twist your career maybe, or what's the next step to take. So obviously it's an incredible relevant topic in today's world, so please tag and share this video with the friends who need to hear this. So before I'll pass it on to Sharon to introduce herself, I just want to remind you that we are going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So to watch the replays, the easiest way is to subscribe to my YouTube channel and switch on notification bell so you can get reminders about upcoming shows, because I'm going live every second Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time with various experts from my network, and we're talking about different things like effective communication online, LinkedIn, personal branding, and this month job search. A lot of the career and career challenges and job search in March on my show. So we're going to answer all your questions from all the platforms. Please make sure you ask as many questions as you want, but please stay on the topic. And the most active participants will also receive a nice surprise at the end of the stream. So, and obviously don't forget to introduce yourself in the comments. Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, I'm still trying to look good, at least even if I'm not feeling 100%, at least look good helps a bit. So again, introduce yourself in the comments, and I'll pass it on to Sharon to introduce herself. Please, Sharon.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Yana. It's always a pleasure to jump on and support something as vital as this, and especially something like job searching and, what's happening out in the job landscape, so important to me. So I'm actually the founder of On the Ball Personnel, and we are based in Melbourne, Victoria. We've been running, I know I feel like a dinosaur now, but 30 years. We celebrated in lockdown. So we still have to have that big party when we can all be, outside of that social distancing side. And look, we've specialised right across the board. So anything from, quite junior roles, graduates, right up to ops managers, that type of thing. We have a lot to do with candidates, and we have a lot to do with clients. So, and we are national. So we don't just work in Melbourne, we've been working as a national brand as well.
Thank you, Sharon. So I guess let's just dig straight into it. So I know you have some information you want to share with us, and then obviously we'll take the questions from the audience as well. But just overall, please share with us what's the main trends we will see with job landscape in 2021.
Yeah, so look, there's definitely quite a few trends. So the most important thing is that COVID shook up everything. It literally shook the world up. I think it's, springboarded what we should have been doing, 5 years in advance to bringing that back in the last 12 months. So, and I know there was a downside to COVID because people lost their jobs, companies definitely went under, but there's also a lot of good that came out of COVID as well. And I think some of the things that we'll talk about today are really high on the agenda now in a lot of employers' minds. and definitely on trend for 2021 and beyond. So the number one thing, so I did a lot of research around this, just because I obviously knew what the trends were, but I wanted to make sure that, were they really significant to other countries as well, who are already experiencing, who are in amidst of their own pandemics with COVID and doing quite tough things. And health and wellness is massive. So we're going to see a real shift into that where, managing the health and wellness of, well-being of your employees, i.e. mental health, is massive. So companies will now be adopting a lot of really good strategies internally to keep, a finger on the pulse and do regular check-ins to make sure that all the employees get the support that they need. Now, that might see new roles pop up. I mean, you and I were chatting before the live stream. So some of the bigger corporations may even bring in a health and wellness advocate to be on site to make sure that they're really checking in. You've spent a lot of money, a lot of time and energy cultivating a good culture. You want to be able to support those employees both on site and remotely. So that's going to be huge. There's also EAP services. We may see EAP services really become like absolutely booked out because, everybody's going, well, we need to have that extra external support that we're offering our team. So EAP will be huge as well. So that's a massive one.
I think you actually mentioned a few quite specific roles that might be, popping up in 2021. Do you want to tell us a little bit about those ones?
Yeah, so look, again, like I keep saying that COVID is, has just shuffled everything. It's shuffled the deck of cards or the deck of jobs. So things like HR now. So HR is going to be looked at quite differently. This was from a leader in the field in HR that had written an article in Forbes. It's Jane Meisel, and she had said that now that HR will actually start to transition into different areas. So what we saw COVID bring up is that we had to work remotely. But when you've got some of your team working remotely, that's a very different space to be playing in. So you'll now have perhaps HR roles that will become more specific. So you'll get people that will focus on being, the advocate just for the just for the working, remote working role. And they will be, working from home facilitator. So they'll make sure that they've got all the onboarding done, that they're checking in to make sure that they've got workflow. Any online training and things like that will be rolled out. This will be held by the, working from home facilitator. So that's definitely one of the roles. And the other role will be internally, where it will be looking at their own team. So being an employer of choice. So branding is going to be massive, because where do talent go? They flock to employers of choice. So how do you become an employer of choice? Well, you've got to have good cultures. You've got to have great programs. You've got to have great support, interesting work. But on the flip side, you've got to make sure that there's actually pathways for your talent. So we'll see a lot of work in that space. So there'll be lots of internal training. You'll get there'll be training to work remotely if they choose to, training to work internally, a lot of e-learning, people upskilling themselves. We'll see employers adopting a lot of that as well. So that's going to be a really that's an exciting space to watch. I think tech's going to be massive in that space. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely, especially from working from home. It's actually probably not only onboarding people working from home, but also assessing who need to work from home and who need to come to the office. Because it probably not only depends on the people position, but it also depends on people personalities. Because some people will perform better at home and some people will perform better at the office. So that's kind of a hard task to manage.
Yeah. So that new existing role where you're the working from home, say, facilitator, will be able to perhaps have some sort of assessment criteria where they could work out, but even still, let's go even deeper than that. Where are they working from home? Is it somewhere that's conducive to their mental health, or are they stuck in the broom cupboard? Like we all had to rush and work remotely. And I don't have an office at home, as in a dedicated space. So I'm working from my bedroom. And after a while, that just became, I felt like, I was sleeping there, I was working there, I wasn't really getting any time out of there except for food. So I'm a mentally pretty robust kind of gal. So you want to make sure, where are they working? What's their space look like? And does it have some nice things around? And, making sure that even cosmetically or aesthetically, things are looking good and making for a good workstation. Because let's face it, when we're at work, we've got our pictures, we've got our favorite mug, we're surrounded by good people that, our teams and things like that. So we want to make sure that we're really focusing on that as well. So I think that's where we see that role, perhaps if they do have, somebody that is a health and wellbeing advocate that will be checking in constantly on remote and making sure that, because not everybody comes forward and says how they're feeling, but somebody's always checking in and making sure that they've got that support, and do they need to pop into the office once every 2 weeks and things like that to continue that social thread, and what are they doing, as far as, catching up with people as well.
Tusha, I actually have a question, but I think we kind of a bit off the topic here. Some online meetings tools were found to be very secure. Which one do you think would be preferred tools, like Zoom and Teams, future for internal communication? I don't actually have any insights on this. Sharon, do you have any comments regarding that?
Yeah. Look, I don't know so much about the security, but that takes me to another point. But we have used Zoom and Teams really well during COVID, and we've continued to use that. So, the landscape of my own, team working has changed somewhat due to COVID. So we've got a totally different footprint now, which is quite interesting, because I would never ever have adopted that footprint if it wasn't for COVID. I was a little bit of a dinosaur. I'd be the first to say that, I had a little bit of pushback with my team, going, I don't think we'll be able to do this. Well, we did so well remotely, like we surprised ourselves. But I think one of the trends that will come from that question is cybersecurity. So that's an industry that's going to really be needing some incredible talent coming in, because you're right, there'll be lots of tech coming through. We'll want to make sure that is embedded properly. Security is absolutely paramount. We've all got client details, personal information, and that. So cybersecurity, those roles are going to be rolled out. We see a lot of it already in the UK. That's huge over there, cybersecurity. So yeah, watch that space. That's definitely an industry, if you're a techie person, to perhaps have a look at.
So from your experience this year and last year, do you find that IT industry is a good one to be? Can you actually say that some industry was blooming better, and actually hiring more people during the COVID, and some industry just died out? Do you see any particular trends through different industries?
Yeah. So look, I think, if I look back, it's just such an interesting time. I mean, who thought that airlines would grind to a halt? I never in my life thought that we wouldn't see planes in the sky, and hence a lot of teams and people that will let go in that space. You've also got your space, videography. A lot of videographers do a lot of freelance work. They were well paid. They had multiple, jobs that they were juggling, and that completely stopped overnight, especially here in Victoria. So if anyone's looking for a future, I think you've got to look at the robustness. So look, for me, IT is always there, because even when you're working remotely, you need tools. Online learning. Like, I do think IT at the moment is quite a booming industry. You've also got the cybersecurity side. That will be here to stay, and that will be a massive industry. So I think that's quite robust. I think any essential services, none of them failed. If anything, we did a lot of work in the essential sales space. So talent is really hard to find there. So all your essential services continue to grow and be in demand during COVID. They did not skip a beat. Medical was massive. So anything in that space as well, really, really robust. Even, during the time though, call centers. So let's look at call centers. If people go, what about call centers? Well, call centers pivoted to remote working, but what we will see now is a massive recruitment drive will be going on, because now employers have gone, well, the rest of the world was shut down. If they're in the Philippines or India, wherever they had their offshore call centers, they were really impacted. So I think employers moving forward will go, let's make sure we've got, bigger teams on the ground here in Australia. Maybe we'll have smaller teams over there that we can quickly, go back to Australia if we need to. We're not going to be as exposed. We're not going to have it so top heavy abroad. So that's definitely another area that will be very buoyant coming, certainly, the next sort of 12 to 18 months.
And I guess it's also improving customer service as well. Like if you have less locations, you have less face-to-face interaction with customers, you need to make sure that your call center interaction is on a higher level, and people actually then they can't actually go to the branch anymore, to the actual physical shop. They want to make sure that they get the same interaction over the phone.
So look, absolutely. I mentioned brand. Like it is everything from your employees' touch point to your consumers or your customers' touch point. I'm part of a group, Kerwin Ray, and he said, if you cannot get it together during COVID, you will never get it together. Like if people didn't go back and go, okay, where are we inefficient as a company? Where can we streamline things? Where can we make sure we up the ante on our wow factor? Because that, customers now have choice. We've all, spent time at home seeing what the delivery service was like, or the callback service was like, or the complaint service if something wasn't right. And we now sit back and go, well, I won't work with them again, but I'll definitely go there. So we've had a great measuring stick. But let's go back to employees. Employees are the same. How did my employer show up? Did they just run for cover and was it survival mode? Or did they have check-ins regularly? Did they reach out to me once a month and go, hey, Sharon, how you doing? How's life at home? Are you okay? Are you coping? What can we do to support you moving forward? They're the ones that will be in the hot seat. They're the ones that talent will go to. They're the ones who will absolutely smash it out of the park. The ones who just ducked for cover, shred lots of staff, didn't give enough notice, maybe emailed, sorry, you're redundant. I don't know. Not many people are going to want to join those teams. So they're going to really struggle moving forward. That for me is a very passionate topic.
So what do you say overall? You see it's less about the industry and it's more about the actual company culture and how they actually look after employees. And that's actually influence more who got redundant, who get the jobs, who hiring, who's not. So it's not as much about the industry.
No, it's a bit of both. So, but one of the biggest trends that's coming up is all about the employee experience. So for me, the employee experience is right from your very first touch point, for your, your video you put up, or your LinkedIn ad or your Seek ad, right through that recruitment process, right to be onboarded, right to, what you say your values are you living them every day? Come on now, let's get real with that. That for me is what that employee experience, and brands will live and die by that. Sadly, they will live and die by that. So you've got to look at what your brand is all about and live that brand, as well as be an industry that's quite buoyant. But look, there were companies where that did have to scale down because they were hit by COVID. But they went and they spoke to their teams. They instead of going, right, you know what, you're out, you're done. They said, let's talk about it. Let's cut back. How about we do 3 days a week? And the minute we can get some respite, we'll go back to 5 days a week. So it's all about how, employers rolled out their COVID plan, because what employees do know, and this is what I know, is that how you do things historically, unless you learn, is how you're going to roll it out in the future. And I think what COVID has shown us is that anything is absolutely possible. So, like I said, for me, who'd have thought in my lifetime that we would never be able to travel overseas for more than 2 years, that airlines would be ground to a halt, and we would be confined to our homes and, having curfews and 1 hour exercise. Like that's what dreams are made of, scary dreams. So employers have got to start getting really smart, going, okay, what is our candidate employee experience? Let's make it great, because we want to be a brand that talent, when it gets tough and in a talent type market, that they're going to gravitate towards us because of what we stand for and what we've rolled out.
Sandra is actually saying company culture is more important. As often you get into your dream industry, your dream company, but if culture is bad, it just put off.
Absolutely, and, Sandra, that's a big 10-4 from me. Absolutely. Just because it's the dream job doesn't mean it adds up. So I think what we're going to see, and we've already started trialing this ourselves as a company, is lots of video testimonials by employees of their experience with the company. So, what speaks volumes is social media, as you would know, Yana. That's your gig, and they'll be getting that out by their social media presence, and not your daggy type of testimonials. I'm talking like really good interactive ones. Like what could where companies not afraid to have an employee say, look, they were great on all these points, but I felt that they could do better here. And that somebody comes in and says, thank you. We want to know where we can do better. Having a culture that is incredible is where we want to go. So we want that feedback. But they won't be afraid to put that out there.
100%. So what advice you would give actually to someone who's looking for a job right now? Like so much things change. You do want to have a job that is not only your dream job, but you you have your dream team there as well. So and some position descriptions now just doesn't make any sense sometimes. So if you haven't worked in some industry, you're trying to change the industry, you go and read the job description and you're like, oh my god, like I had no idea what this company actually want me to do if they hire me for this position. So how to overcome this?
You feel like saying, can I take that to my in-house lawyer? Because it's, it's written in such, legal terms. So look, job descriptions, people just get so caught up with it. For me, it's a very simple process and it should roll out that, your measurables, the expectations of the role and your core responsibilities. It's as simple as that. And if you find it's really hard to understand, then I'd be looking at the rest of the company. Where else are they going to have those bottlenecks in the company? So remember, first impressions is really important. There's massive, massive pressure on candidates to rock up in, or be on Zoom, and, be prepared, make sure they've viewed the website, do their research. Well, you do the same to the client. This is an equal playing field now. So make sure you do your due diligence. Check out the website, go and see what their social media is. Go and see what's being said about them. If you really are a serious job seeker, then that's the kind of legwork you need to do. And if somebody, and it goes reverse too. So if you go to an organization, you will want someone that has read your resume from back to front. And a client is no different. They want you to know their website. Like, for example, I did an interview today and she knew all about my website. She knew how long I'd been in business. She knew all these little details. Yeah, did that stroke my ego? Somewhat. I'll put my hand up. But she had done her work, and that showed me as someone who's really committed to the position and committed to the company. So it's a two-way street. If you go to an interview and somebody hasn't read your resume properly or isn't organized, then you've got to have a look at that and go, how committed are they to this process and getting the right seats on the right bus and, making sure their hires are this great, awesome team. Because without an awesome team, you can't take any of the product any further.
Sandra is saying they put 5 roles in the one description. They want a unicorn, which I hate. How we can get really good as what we do if they ask to do 100 things?
Oh, I'm loving you, Sandra. Look, for me, that's a clear indication the person or the company who's doing the hiring doesn't understand the role. And if they don't understand the role, then they're never going to understand the performance reviews. It's just going to flow into the organization. So for me, that'd be a no deal. No way. You want somebody who understands that, what they're asking for, like you said, Sandra, is a unicorn, and unicorns don't exist. And what will happen is that you'll do that job and you could be, pinged for not performing because it's actually outside the total expectations of the role. So for me, that's easy. That's a big, cross going, no, that's not the company I'm going to align with because they're clearly not knowing that is 2 potential roles instead of, just the one role. So I'd take that seriously.
But do you think like now in 2021, because of the financial crisis, that a lot of employees will be trying to squeeze few positions into the one?
Yeah. Look, I think it goes both ways, Yana. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. There'll always be those companies that are they want, more bang for their buck than they're going to get. that they'll be wanting that. But there'll also, be candidates that want to go in with very little experience wanting, the cream pie as well. So it does go both ways. I think it's really important for candidates to have a look at what the job role is. If it's asking way too much, step away from the company, because again, for me, it's like that's just an example of what is inherent in the organization. And candidates, same for clients. If clients see that a candidate, is trying to spin that they've got more experience than what they have, you need to step away, because that's just setting the candidate up to fail as well. So I definitely think that one of the things that will come out of COVID is that, it'll be very distinct. You'll have companies realizing they need to spend top dollar to get top talent, and they'll really have a wonderful culture and brand. And you're going to get to the companies that spend very little to get very little. So it's the old adage, what you put out,
Yep.
you get back tenfold. So if you're going to put out a crappy salary, you're going to attract, candidates that are not going to be talent. They have to understand that. So
do you think it's a kind of trend that COVID actually make a split a bit bigger? So the higher position became more paid, and less paid position became even less paid? Because I definitely know that some companies, they rehire people now to the same position with the lower salary.
So I think it's different to that, Yana, in the sense that you're going to see a split between companies. So it's not so much a split between roles, it'll be a split between companies. You'll get companies that go, what did we learn? That they're really proactive, visionary companies that go, what did we learn? We learned that to get talent, we need to pay for talent. We need to make sure we're upskilling talent. We're managing talent. We've got a wellness person on site. We've got online that they can start upskilling themselves further. That's what we'll see. We'll also see companies that go, that will push back on what the learnings of COVID. They'll not have a wellness advocate or an EAP, supplier or, partnership, I should say, an EAP partner. They won't have any of that. They'll be like, not looking at their brand. They'll be looking at, what's the dollar value I'm getting? So it won't be following their values. They probably don't know what the values are. They're not living those every day. So you're going to see two different employers. So candidates need to be savvy. Where are you going to spend your time? Where are you going to spend your very precious time in, applying for roles?
Tushar is asking, flexibility to employees post-COVID will improve job satisfaction and the quality too. What do you think?
Oh, I think 100%. As again, this is about, employers going, what did we learn? We learned that now that we can have a flexible, highly productive workforce. We've just hired somebody, and, that hire has now been offered 4 days, and one of those days is remote working. Couldn't be happier. She's got a small family. That's helping her with her work-life balance. So we've totally rewritten what the work-life balance is and rewritten the productivity level. So my team and I remotely, without all the whiz-bang things that we had in an office, we're highly productive. So I think it's going to be the future. The old normal work is totally gone. It's what's the future of work look like? And that's going to be very individual to individual companies. So I personally, I don't want to work remotely. I love being in the office. I love the hustle. I love that I have the flexibility to do that if I choose, if I was unwell or something, that I can take my laptop and I can be sitting at the ocean and still working. I like that. But it's something that I've offered my team. So all of my team now work only 3 days a week in the office, and they are 2 days remote. And they couldn't be happier. They don't have to schlep the public transport on a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon. So, it's looking at employers that are adopting that. But I couldn't agree more with the last question that, this will see really productive companies. If it's managed well and the employees, it's rolled out well, the production level should go through the roof.
And I guess the addition question to this from the shy as well, like a giving flexibility may result in a salary negotiation.
Look, again, I think that's very individual with an employer. So, for example, my team have, they're at home. I've got huge trust in them. There's no salary negotiation there. I think, if anything, now I'm a different employer. So, I'd like to think that I'm in the upper echelon of employers, because I think if you can get somebody that works fantastically and highly productively from home with that flexibility, can also pivot into the office and work productively, I'd like to pay that person more. They're valuable. That's valuable. I found it really hard that last lockdown that we had for 1 week in Melbourne, and I'm a founder of a company. And I said openly to my team, I was quite vulnerable and said, I struggled to get my concentration back, from being in the office and then having to go back home for a week and work remotely. So I'd like to reward somebody that can do that really well and add ROI to my bottom line. So I'm in that upper echelon of employers that will look at it that way, but there'll always be the employers that will say, well, that's a benefit and we're going to slash your salary because that's a benefit. 100%.
I definitely think I need to be paid more if I'm working from home. Because it's just taking away all the social interactions. Like, I just know, like, if I'm around the people, I am definitely more productive rather than sitting by myself and constantly pushing myself. So, but I guess that balance of being able to go to the office few days, and quietly pick up on some paperwork from home, can be quite beneficial for a lot of actually jobs where, in the office sometimes you don't even find this like quiet space to catch up and have to have like 10 people to come to you and ask questions that nothing to do with your today's task.
I also think of it, I look at it as, again, vision. So it's great for our planet that we have less vehicles on the road. Like, it's a win-win everywhere. It's a win for employers, but it's also a win for our planet, going, well, we're going to cut down those emissions by having less cars on the road because people are at home working. But I think you bring up a really great point. For me, in the office, you've got the hustle, which I love, but hustle equals distraction. People are coming in, they're asking questions, you're listening into conversations, you're getting distracted. At home, my productivity levels, like what my output is at home, is tremendous because there isn't any of that. It's just me working and I can get in that flow and off I'm going. So I like to think that can be rewarded. Absolutely.
Frank is asking, here we go. It's a hard one. We are finding it hard to find labor. They're saying that we can pay them cash as the money they get in the dough is enough, so they don't want to work. But the job keeper is finishing end of the month. So,
but my question
Sharon,
to you,
what's your view? Yeah, what will happen?
My question to you, Frank, is that the look, if anyone says to me that I've been sitting on that instead of finding work, that's not the mindset that I'm wanting to attract in my company or any of my clients' companies. So I think you have to look at that mindset to say, is that really who we want to employ? I don't think that's going to set your culture up, Frank. So I would be not looking at those that asking to pay cash, because that's going to bring in that look, I'm just going to get what I can kind of attitude, and that's not what you want to build your culture on. So for me to you, Frank, I'd go away and go, what does my talent avatar look like? If I have a team here, what do I want them to have? What's the DNA of my company? And that must be transferred into the people that I hire. So you need to have really good, robust questions, behavioral questions to hire them into that. Now, I know that, people come back and say, yeah, but we can't find anyone. You will. That's a mindset thing for me. You will. It might take a little bit. You need to have patience, but you will find talent. But the minute you step into that zone and start paying cash and things like that, you are bringing into your business a poor culture, which will result in poor service to your clients. And coming out of COVID, that is a space that you can ill afford to be in.
I'm just Frank saying we need people who come back from over construction. So that's a construction industry.
Yeah.
Consultation. Here we go. No, I think it's a big topic. So we definitely will see some changes at the end of the month. Then some of the people suddenly decide like, looks like I need to get a job now. So
look,
yeah. Do you think it actually we will notice some spike in April?
Look, I don't really, Jana. I think what we'll see is
Mm-hmm.
more jobs coming up, the more certainty that,
Mm-hmm.
employers have. So, going back into a week's lockdown, it just creates the ripple effect of uncertainty. So employers go, you know what, we're not going to hire just yet. Let's see what's going to happen for the next month or two. Let's see what happens with the vaccine rollout. So everyone's sort of just kind of holding their breath a little bit. Once all that starts getting rolled out, and again, you're going to just see a massive amount of recruitment going on. So if people are home still sitting there now, job seeker is worth nothing. So job seeker, I don't know how people live on that, so it's not worth anything. And that for me is, if people are waiting it out because they want to be on job seeker, again, I go back and say that is not the mindset that I want in my business. I want people that have actively tried to find work during that time, whether they had to take on the meantime job and it was not in the industry of their choice, but they chose to work instead of taking job seeker. That's actually what I want. So, and I think employers are going to be checking for that as well, most definitely. But, if you're like this, all the companies that I go into at the moment, so if you go into restaurants, you go into cafes, I ask you to look at how many signs are up looking for employees, loads. So there's a lot of roles out there, but, and I often say to those people, they're going, yeah, but they're just on job. You don't want the people on job seeker. Why those roles are so prolific is because we've lost a huge amount of people coming in from overseas. So if you think about a lot of the hospitality roles, all of that, retail positions, people on working holiday visas held those. So they were a vital part of the workforce, and we're really feeling the fact that we don't have any of them left anymore, that they've all returned home and they're not coming into the country. So that is a bit of a dilemma on how do we start, attracting more people to take those jobs. So, and again, we've got to make roles attractive. So, it might be, reaching out, going, instead of having something that was 40 hours, could we get two university students that have got contact hours for 20 hours a week, and they could work around that? It's getting a bit more creative. You have to think, how do we keep business churning with great talent and make it flexible so that we're an employer of choice and we're getting those people in the door?
No, 100%. And I definitely notice how many positions in demand in hospitality at the moment. And it definitely wouldn't be my prediction last year. You would think it will be like impossible to find a job in hospitality, but in reality, it turns out there are a lot of restaurants screaming to get some people, and I think particularly when struggling to get someone full time.
Absolutely. Every second restaurant I'm going to, not that I'm going to a lot of restaurants, but cafes and stuff, they're all saying, there's all signs going, we need talent working here. So, look, we can all sit there and this might be a bit controversial, what I'm going to say, but I'm never mainstream at the best of times. We can sit there and we can say it's challenging and all of that, but we need to take the energy and go, okay, so how do we be different? How can we be that magnet that attracts those people? What can we offer that the rest of the hospitality are not offering to get people in the door? But make sure it's the right people in the door. We don't want just bodies. We want people that have got great customer service, that have bucket loads of initiative and have an enormous work ethic, because that's what hospitality. They're like the fundamentals or the DNA of hospitality, and they're quick learners. So you've got to think of those things. You've got to think outside the box, and having just think tanks with your company, sitting down for a day, going, let's just get a board and let's just throw up ideas, and then something will come as how you will attract that.
Frank is saying, so what does it say about the Australian culture? let's not reply to this question. Let's just reflect on it.
Yeah.
Sandra actually have a more specific question. So many people during COVID built their own business like myself, but is this seems as a direct competition than you're applying to a company?
So Sandra, I love it. I love the fact that you used your initiative, you built a business. So this will be about how you frame it and how you actually see it. So for me, I think you would go into a business saying, look, I had the option to be on JobKeeper or Seeker. I chose to, start to reinvent myself and start my own business. It's been amazing. And I've definitely learnt a lot. And it's made me reflect that this is something I'm very passionate about, hence my application to your company.
But I've noticed definitely for some employees, it is a bit of doubting. Like then they look at someone's LinkedIn profile and see that they, I don't know, self-employed or have their own business. So some employees, it's for some employees, it's just no, like they want someone to be a bit more dedicated to their company. But I guess we're coming back to the culture and what sort of employees brand and what talent they're trying to achieve.
Look, I love it. I love anyone's resume that they've worked for themselves, because everybody knows when you work for yourself, it's bloody hard. It's not easy. So, and they've often worked long hours. They've often, sacrificed a lot. So, and they know the importance of running a business. They know the importance of great processes, SOPs, great talent. They know all of that. So why wouldn't you hire them in there? That's an awesome employee. Again, it's about how you frame that, how you actually see yourself. I don't look at people as a flight risk ever when they've had their own business. What I might ask them is, what motivated you to apply to us and not keep going in your own business? That'd be my question to ask. So, Sandra, if you get asked that question, be prepared, because they want to know, what is your motivation? Why us? And why did you not continue to do work on your own? But I think, you can really use that as a wonderful springboard platform to say, I know what it's like to meet deadlines. I know what it's like to, be resourceful, and know what it's like to juggle a number of balls in the air and have great processes in place. I'm very conscious of that. So I bring all those talents to the role and to your business. No, you can absolutely smash it out of the park, Sandra.
100%. And I guess the common answer to this also, the looking for stability as well, especially like now, people have like the small business. It just can be hard to stay on the flow. So, and if you're applying for some position, you can probably reply that I'm just looking for more stability, and trying to look at my business from another perspective could be a good reply as well. What do you think, Sharon?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think absolutely, saying, look, having my own business, I've learned that, it's a massive commitment. And, it was a great commitment to have in COVID, but getting back into the real world now, that it takes a lot of, person power, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of, patience and everything like that. And that's not something that I'm prepared to do for the next couple of years. So what it's defined to me is that, I've got an incredible work ethic. I've got a lot to offer a company, but I've decided that an employee is the place for me to be, and not running a business. There's absolutely no harm in saying that. And I think the more authentic you are, and when I say authentic, it cannot be fabricated authenticity. It must be real. Then companies are like, great. We want to take on real people, because as companies, we will dip down. We will be real as well. We'll be great, but we might have a horror pit. We might have a horror stretch. And we want people that can appreciate that, who understand the reality that we might have hit a bad patch financially, and we need everyone just to hang in there, work hard, but we'll talk to you all. So that authenticity will be mirrored back to you 100%.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. So much information, and we already like past 40 minutes. So I think it's a good time to try to wrap it up. We do have one more question here from Tushar. So I guess we probably stop here. So he's saying LinkedIn will be a major tool for job search even now. So we should keep it updated. But are there any other places we should be aware of where employers may look at?
Yeah. Look, that is, again, great questions. I've loved all the questions that have come today, Jana. What a great bunch of viewers we've got on, listeners, because they've been really, really good questions. So, look, I think, number one, LinkedIn is a great place for a job search. It's also a place where you can check out what the actual employer posts. Is it something that's conducive to employees? You'll see what their branding is showing. But look, as we move into a space where it is harder to find talent, then they will be on a number of platforms. So you definitely need to still keep looking at your job boards, even though I think they will shrink as time goes by. Look at their, if you've got particular companies that you want to align with, keep an eye on their websites, jump on their Facebook pages. And a lot of companies sometimes too, will put on, if there's, job boards not job boards, but, groups on Facebook groups. So jobs in Melbourne or something like that, companies will also launch on there. So I think that if you are looking for any type of work to spread yourself across those things, you're going to find something, you're going to see something that you can apply for. But it's, employers, their frustration will be, how do we find talent? What are we going to do that is actually going to bring talent in? And just writing a dead boring ad on Seek is not going to cut it anymore, because talent just read generic ads and go, well, there's nothing in there that's appealing to me that says this is the employer that I should align with. So what you're gonna see a lot more of, Tushar, is people's social media, companies' social media. What's their impact? Where are they going? What do they put online as their videos? Is it dead boring, like it all about them, or is it talking about employee experience or customers' experience? So I think LinkedIn for me is a major player moving forward in 2021 and beyond. But also Facebook will also still be there. But yeah, I think LinkedIn, you can glean a lot about companies you want to align with.
Thank you so much for this reply. I guess it's a lot we can add to this, because obviously there is a lot of job search tools out there. But guys, I just want to actually remind you that I'm going live every second Wednesday. And guess what? In 2 weeks, me and Marina, we actually gonna talk exactly about that. So we're gonna actually talk about job search tools and how to stand out in 2021. So we're actually gonna dive in more specifically about the job search in that live stream. So if you are on the search for job at the moment, so I definitely recommend you to attend this one on the 17th of March. And then on the 31st of March, we're going to talk with Joseph about top tips to boost your personal brand on LinkedIn. So that is pretty much including increasing your chances to get hired through LinkedIn as well. So that will be on the 31st of March. And a week, 2 weeks after, on the 14th of April, I'm going to speak with Renata about how to choose a career that's right for you. So if you're completely stuck and you just, want to go back to, your strength analysis and what's your stronger qualities and where to start, and you're choosing career. So make sure to join us on the 14th of April. Sharon, the questions just keep coming. I was gonna.
That's okay. I've got time. If you've got time, Yana, I'm fine.
I'm sick. I'm just sorry. I don't have anything planned, so I can sit here for 24 hours. And so Frank is asking, are there organizations that can help on LinkedIn?
Look, yes, there are definitely. You can go onto LinkedIn themselves. They've got lots of tutorials and things on how to, help you navigate through LinkedIn. But look, when I first learned about LinkedIn, I just followed people that had put up, information about that they were very good with LinkedIn. And I've jumped in a lot of free webinars, especially during COVID, learning as much as I can. So Frank, you just got to, search them, go on to LinkedIn. But like I said, LinkedIn has some great tutorials on, or just all the different areas as well. Like what's the difference between standard or being premium, how much exposure you get. Like, I was even, looking at someone said, changing the connect button to a follow button. So I've done that. So yeah, just looking for the people on LinkedIn themselves. And, I'm sure you can Google someone who's a LinkedIn expert. I'm sure Jan is going to have someone who's a LinkedIn expert coming on that you can glean some pearls of wisdom as well.
Yeah, 100%, Frank. You can check my blog. I had actually interviews with quite a lot of LinkedIn experts. Yeah. But I guess my question to Frank also, organization that help on LinkedIn to find a job or advertise a job? Because Frank mentioned to us before that they're struggling to find a talent. So is there any organization who are actually helping you to hire through, through LinkedIn? I guess you can always sign up for LinkedIn for recruiters as well.
But it's also too looking at as if LinkedIn is a platform for labourers. No, I don't believe it is. So that if that's what you're looking for, Frank, I don't think that's the platform for you. If you're looking for an ops manager, foreman, that type of thing, absolutely. I think that you'll find them on LinkedIn. So you've got to have a look at what the market that you're targeting as well, and what LinkedIn is made up of.
Yeah, so we don't have time to spend time sitting behind the computer. So you need to, maybe you need to go to someone like Sharon, and she can help you to find the talent.
You need to invest that. I know it's hard when you run a company. I'm a CEO as well, but you need to be able to say, okay, jumping on, if you plan out your day, being half an hour to 40 minutes on LinkedIn every day is not a long period of time. And I would say it's an investment in your brand and your company. So I would definitely implore you to change that mindset to jump on there and have a look. You'll find out some, how to run LinkedIn more efficiently, so that maybe that 40 minutes is only cut down to 20. So yeah, you've got to invest in knowledge to be able to be good in any of the spaces that you're in.
And also, guys, want to share with you, so everyone who participated in this our live stream today can receive the behavioral interview techniques booklet from Sharon. Sharon, do you want to tell us a little bit what you're covering in this booklet?
Yeah. So what we are covering there is, what are behavioral questions, and what would be some typical questions, and how to prepare and things like that. So, we found it's actually a resource that every job seeker that applies to us gets. If they're not successful, they're sent a not successful letter, and they are sent a copy of that, because we want them to be successful. We want them to learn and be able to get that job. So it's another resource. It's free. It helps you look at different questions and what companies look for in answers and things like that. So hopefully it helps you land that next role. And if you're a client, you can look at those questions as some of the questions you could potentially ask applicants that are coming into your organization.
So what's the easiest way to connect with you, Sharon? And what's the easiest way to get the booklet from you? So is it LinkedIn, or should they contact your email, or is it a link?
Look, you can do either. So Frank, you're not going to like this, but you can find me on LinkedIn. So you're going to have to spend a little bit of time, Frank, doing that. I say that with just
force him to get on LinkedIn.
Exactly. So I'm definitely on LinkedIn, so you can jump on, send me an email, we'll send it out, or, on the ball personnel, if you contact the team, it's just info@on the ball personnel, and we can start sending those out. So, please shout out. It would be absolute privilege to be able to, give you some additional resources to help, secure that role.
And I also have a copy. So if you guys, for some reason, lost Sharon's LinkedIn or something, just message me and I connect you with Sharon. So you make sure you get the booklet as well. Or if you have any questions to us, any further questions to Sharon, please make sure to put in the comments. And I'm sure Sharon might have some time to reply as well.
Absolutely.
On LinkedIn, Frank, on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. So, if you've got any questions, or, it might even be a particular question that's asked in an interview, or, what's happening in the future, anything like that, hit me up. It's just my pleasure to be able to, pay it forward, actually.
100%. So thank you so much, Sharon. We already passed 50 minutes, so I'm at least trying to make sure we finish before 6:30. It's been a pleasure to talk with you as usual. So thank you so much for all the insights you share with us. And I do hope that you guys enjoy it as well. And I hope you have some big takeaways from today's conversation. So Sharon, just, I don't know, the last sentence from you, some, maybe a quote, I don't know, or maybe just something inspirational to finish this live stream. Put you on the spot.
I know. Look, for me, I live my life on just one term. What you give out, you get back tenfold. From an employer perspective, you've got to really invest in your company and your brand to get top talent. For top talent, you've got to invest in the search, do the work, make sure you know all about the company you're applying to, practice, do all those things. You can't, at the end of the day, for me, if you're going to do all of that, then you're going to reap the rewards. Now, that might come in the fact that, you don't get that job, but you get some extraordinary feedback that does lead you to the next job. Somewhere, somehow, you will reap those rewards. But if you don't do the work, then, you're going to get bones, sadly. So that's my inspiration.
Come on, guys. So it's time for the action. Frank?
Absolutely. And I'm an
I need to see you on
action-oriented
LinkedIn
girl.
tomorrow.
Exactly. You've just got to invest in yourself, and I think the other thing, just very quickly, Yana, that, that gets really overlooked, and again, I'm so passionate about, is energy. So it's the energy that you bring to your interview. Make sure that you're not slouching. Make sure that your voice isn't really drony. I know it's been a tough gig. No one can take that away from you, but please make sure that you've got great energy, because people want to hire people who've got good energy because they're attracted to that. They move towards that. And if the employer is like that, get the hell out of there, because if they don't have good energy, then the rest of the place doesn't have good energy.
100%, 100%. So on this positive note, pump up your energy. Make sure that you energize from the energy of people around you, and take the next step. And I'll see you in 2 weeks on 17th of March, talking about the best job tools in 2021. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Yana. Get well soon.
I'll try. By Friday. Yeah, I should be all good by Friday.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.